Blackwood. A name whispered on the wind, a ghost of a town clinging to the edge of nowhere. Once laughter echoed from its streets, children played in its park, life pulsed with a vibrant beat. Now, silence. The houses stood like empty eye sockets, windows dark and lifeless. The wind rattled through the skeletal branches of dead trees, the only sound breaking the heavy quiet. Blackwood held its secrets close, buried deep beneath the surface of forgotten memories. Detective Alan Graves drove his car down the deserted main street, each bump in the road a jarring echo in the silence. Blackwood had called to him, a siren song of mystery and intrigue. A missing journalist, vanished without a trace. The local police had dismissed it, another soul swallowed by the town's apathy. But Graves, he felt the pull of the unknown, the lure of a puzzle begging to be solved. Graves stepped out of his car, the silence pressing in like a physical weight. This town felt abandoned, forgotten by time and man. He adjusted his fedora, a shield against the unseen eyes he could feel watching him. The air hung heavy, thick with the scent of decay and something else, something unnameable that sent a shiver down his spine. His investigation began at the only establishment still showing signs of life, the Rusty Lantern, a tavern clinging to the last vestiges of Blackwood's past. He pushed open the door, the hinges groaning in protest. Inside, a handful of patrons huddled in the dim light, their faces etched with a weariness that ran deeper than age. Their eyes followed him, wary and guarded.
Looking for something, stranger?
The bartender, a man with eyes as old as the town itself, placed a glass of whiskey in front of him.
Information. I'm looking for a journalist, Thomas Blake. Disappeared a few weeks back.
A murmur rippled through the tavern, a collective shudder in the dim light. The bartender wiped down the counter, his movements slow and deliberate. Blackwood doesn't take kindly to outsiders? One of the patrons, a man with haunted eyes and a tremor in his hand, leaned closer. They say the town, she swallows them whole. Those who pry too deep, who ask too many questions. He trailed off, his gaze flickering nervously towards the door. Graves pressed on, his gut telling him there was more to this town than met the eye. He learned of Marvin, a recluse living on the outskirts of town, rumored to possess a photographic memory and a deep knowledge of Blackwood's history. He might talk to you if he's in the mood. Marvin's house was a testament to time's relentless march. It stood as a silent witness to the passage of years, each layer of peeling paint a chapter in its long, storied history. Paint peeled from its walls, windows boarded shut like frightened eyes. The house seemed to hold its breath, as if waiting for something or someone to break the silence. Graves knocked, the sound echoing through the stillness. The knock was a stark contrast to the quiet, a reminder that the house was not entirely forgotten. After a moment, the door creaked open, revealing a frail old man with eyes that seemed to hold the weight of countless memories. His gaze was intense, as if he could see through time itself. You seek answers, answers buried deep, like roots clinging to the earth. The truth is often hidden, intertwined with the past, waiting to be unearthed. He ushered Graves inside, the house filled with the musty scent of old paper and forgotten dreams. Each room was a labyrinth of memories, a maze of the past. Marvin's memory was indeed a treasure trove of Blackwood's past. He had lived through the town's highs and lows, each memory a piece of the puzzle. He spoke of a time when the town thrived, fueled by a booming mining industry. The streets were once bustling with life, a stark contrast to the present. He spoke of the Richards family, their wealth and influence casting a long shadow over Blackwood. Their legacy was intertwined with the town's fate, and he spoke of a tragedy, a mine collapse that claimed the lives of dozens of miners, an event shrouded in whispers and half-truths. The disaster left scars that never fully healed. Graves listened, piecing together the fragments of a story buried beneath layers of time and silence. Each detail was a clue, each memory a key to unlocking the past. He learned that Thomas Blake's investigation had centered around the mine collapse, a story he believed held a darker truth than the official records revealed. The deeper Graves delved, the more he realized that the past was not as it seemed. Following Marvin's lead, Graves found himself drawn to the Blackwood Public Library, a grand old building now gathering dust and neglect.
The air inside was thick with the smell of decay, the silence broken only by the rustle of unseen creatures in the shadows.
He wandered through the stacks, his fingers trailing along the spines of books untouched for decades.
As he delved deeper into the library's bowels, he stumbled upon a hidden room, its entrance concealed behind a shelf of rotted books.
Inside, stacks of old newspapers and documents lay scattered across a table, illuminated by a single flickering oil lamp.
He recognized Blake's handwriting on several of the documents, his notes filled with a frantic urgency.
Graves felt a presence behind him, a cold breath on the back of his neck.
He spun around, his hand instinctively reaching for the revolver at his hip.
But there was no one there. Just the shadows, lengthening in the fading light, and the unsettling feeling that he was not alone. Blake's notes spoke of a cover-up, a conspiracy that reached the highest levels of power in Blackwood. His handwriting was frantic, almost desperate, as if he knew the gravity of what he had uncovered. The notes hinted at something far more sinister than anyone could have imagined. He wrote of secret tunnels beneath the town, used to transport something other than coal from the mines. These tunnels, hidden from the public eye, were said to be the veins of a dark network that pulsed with illicit activities, and he mentioned Mayor Richards, his name circled in red ink, a question mark scrawled beside it. The mayor, a figure of authority and trust, was now shrouded in suspicion. What role did he play in this hidden world?
Armed with this newfound knowledge, I set out to find the entrance to the tunnels. The weight of Blake's discoveries pressed heavily on my mind, but I knew I had to uncover the truth. Marvin had mentioned an old well, long since sealed, located on the outskirts of town. This well, forgotten by most, was rumored to be one of the entrances to the hidden tunnels.
As he approached the well, he noticed fresh footprints in the dirt, as if someone had been there recently. The sight of these prints sent a shiver down his spine, suggesting that he was not alone in his quest. He peered into the darkness, a cold draft rising from the depths. The air was thick with the scent of earth and decay, a foreboding sign of what lay below. With a deep breath, Graves grabbed the rope and began his descent into the unknown. Each step down the rope felt like a step away from the world above and into a realm of secrets. The air grew colder, the darkness more oppressive as he descended deeper into the bowels of the earth. The walls of the well seemed to close in around him, amplifying the sense of isolation. He finally reached the bottom, landing on a damp and uneven surface. The ground was slick with moisture, and the air was heavy with the scent of mold. He lit a match, the flickering flame revealing a narrow passage carved into the rock. The passage beckoned him forward, promising answers but also untold dangers. The tunnel led him to a vast underground chamber, its walls shimmering with a strange, otherworldly light. In the center of the chamber stood a massive structure of metal and wires, humming with an energy that made the hairs on the back of his neck stand on end, and standing before it, his back to Graves, was Mayor Richards.
"You shouldn't have come here, Detective,"
Richards said, his voice echoing through the chamber. He turned, his face illuminated by the strange light, his eyes filled with a chilling coldness.
"This town had secrets, Detective. Secrets we swore to protect, no matter the cost.
He gestured to the machine.
This is the source of our prosperity, our power. And you, with your prying eyes and your thirst for the truth, you threaten to destroy everything."
Some truths are too important to stay buried.
Graves drew his revolver, his finger tightening on the trigger, his voice firm despite the tremor running through him. These were the keys to unraveling the mystery that had plagued Blackwood, the proof that would expose the mayor's dark secrets. He had glimpsed the truth buried beneath Blackwood's silence, and it chilled him to the bone. The revelations were more horrifying than he had imagined, a sinister reality that threatened to consume him. But he knew he had to press on, for the sake of those who had suffered in silence. Graves never returned to Blackwood. He knew that some secrets were too powerful, too dangerous to expose fully. He filed his report, omitting certain details, downplaying the true extent of what he had found. The missing journalist was never found, another victim claimed by the town's insidious grip. He carried the scars, both physical and emotional, of his encounter with Blackwood. A constant reminder of the price of truth and the darkness that lay hidden beneath the surface of even the most ordinary places. And in the silence of the night, he could still hear the wind whispering through the trees, carrying with it the secrets of a town forever shrouded in mystery